So, how's it going, everybody? We are with Alaney and Jake from Pine River Paddlesports, one of our favorite little destinations up there for doing some kayaking and some fun. And I don't even know if you guys know what sparked this, but I saw your Instagram feeds with the different. Sorry, I was looking down at the computer. The Instagram feeds that you guys did with your dog in the winter and all that type of stuff. That was awesome. Yeah. I gotta get a hold of these guys, and we want to try coming up there soon. So why don't you guys introduce yourself a little bit and talk about the history between at the paddle sports there.
Yeah. So I'm Jacob Miltner, Alaney, my wife. So Dad started the business in 1971, right out of high school, and it's gone through a couple of name changes over the years. But yeah, the last few years we've been in the process of transitioning it over to us.
Yeah. So it's been the Pine River Paddlesports Center for about 25 years. And we have a campground as well. So yeah, a few years ago, we made the decision that we wanted to take over the business. So yeah, it's just been figuring that out and figuring out what our vision for the business is and ways we can grow it. So hence we started the winter rafting this year, and yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Like kudos to you guys. The last few years is when I really started noticing you guys a lot. And so you're gonna have to tell, is it Jake, your dad? You're gonna have to tell him that you're much better at marketing, because in the last few years is when things I'm like, noticed you guys a bunch. So keep up the good work. You guys are putting out great content.
Thank you. Thank you. That's my full-time job. I did not go to school for marketing at all, so I'm just trying to figure out social media. So
You're nailing it. You're doing a great job. So so tell us a little bit about, like, we've been up there a few different times. We've done the Pine. We've been there in different times of the year when there was a ton of, I think you guys say volume, there's, high volumes. Talk about the Pine a little bit and the trips available, and then maybe the Manistee and different things that you guys offer.
Yeah, so the Pine River, we have 2, 3, 4, or 5 hour trips. We rent canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddle boards, and rafts. There's sections of the Pine that have whitewater, sections that avoid whitewater. So there's something for all skill levels. So we really take a lot of time with people to make sure they're in a size appropriate boat, they're in the right kind of craft for them. Anybody who's new to the river, we make them go through a little primer, a little instructional, give them some tips and tricks for while they're out on the water, because we don't want to just throw people in. So yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, in the Big Manistee River too, we operate on. That is, I love the Big Manistee River. Between Hodenpile and Red Bridge is one of our favorite sections. If we have like the day off once a summer or whatever.
Literally once a summer.
Yeah, we'll go do that, and it's a good 3.5 hour float. The Big Manistee is a little warmer in the Pine, so it's a lot easier to swim in. It's a bigger, more open river, so you kind of get some bigger vistas. Not to take anything away from the Pine. The Pine is absolutely gorgeous in its own right, but the Big Manistee, especially in the fall, you get some really beautiful vistas as
really
you're paddling
views.
that. Yeah, so. Yeah,
that's actually good to know. I did not realize that, the difference. We have just come to the Pine mostly, and might have been years back I did the other, but that's good to know. I didn't even realize that the other one has a lot of good views and things like that. We like to, we hear that thrilling whitewater, so we kind of go for that, but I like the views and the vistas as much too, so.
Yeah, the Big Manistee is beautiful. Yeah, we usually go there once a year for our anniversary.
Fun. Hey, what I just forgot? I looked down my notes. Hoxy, we got to talk about the mascot. Tell us about that and how you can actually, we didn't get to the winter rafting yet, but tell us a little bit about Hoxy and how he's added to the mix.
Yeah, so we got married in June of 2016, and instantly I started begging Jake for a puppy, and he would not give in. And then I found this picture of Hoxy online. And I was like, what about this puppy? And he's like, okay, I'll go get him this week. So Hoxy came onto the scene in September of 2016. And he is at the office with us every day, all day in the summer. And pretty much anywhere we go, he goes. We live in a canvas outfitters tent in the summertime in our campground. So Hoxy lives there with us. We go paddling. He's always with us. And he does some winter rafting trips now. Some guests have requested that he go with them, and he just sits right in the raft. Rafting is new to him this year because we're big canoers. So, but he really loves the raft. He loves to be able to put his feet up on the side and like look out. So yeah, he's been pretty popular. He has his own merchandise now. He's got some stickers and some bandanas. So we're trying to, yeah, he's pretty popular. He pulls his weight.
That is awesome. Yeah, I mean, you definitely have a superstar there because I was watching before we jumped on. I watched your Q&A on rafting and the winter rafting, and he just played. He's a superstar. He came right up and almost like kissed the camera, walked away, and
yes.
Totally see. And when we were up there, I think it was 2 years ago, year and a half ago, whatever it was. I remember him in the check-in area. And, it's great to have a little mascot around like that. That's perfect. So let's talk about the good segue to the winter rafting. Let's talk about that because we will definitely, I had a few questions. Is that literally does the sides get iced up and you can't do it anymore? Or is there a time it cuts off? Or let's talk about the winter rafting.
Yeah, so the Pine, as you know, has a little more gradient than most Michigan rivers, and that allows it to stay open all year pretty much. So if we get multiple nights in a row where it's down to 0 or maybe negatives, there might be a couple of places that bridge over with ice, but it'd be very thin, and the first little warm up that we get, it'd be open again. So yeah, there really is no time when you can't raft down the Pine. It never gets,
Thankfully, it's not a problem we have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a new idea this year, and it sounds like you get to hike back, like an hour hike back.
Yeah, so you can either get a ride back or you can hike back. So far the hiking option has been really, really popular with our guests. It just allows you to make a little bit more of a full day of your outdoor excursion. So the rafting itself takes about an hour and 15 minutes. So long enough to kind of soak in the scenery, but not so long that you're freezing. And then at the end, you can walk the Silver Creek pathway back. So one side of the river is 1.7 miles. The other side is 2.4. Both really beautiful. I mean, it's a gorgeous hike. We hike it almost every day. Actually, when we're done with this interview, we're going to go hike it. And it's a really beautiful riverside hike. So that's been really popular with guests. And we will take back to your start after we get done with the rafting trip. You can give your guide any extra layers of clothing, thermoses, but anything you don't want to hike with, just give it to your guide. He'll take it back to the start for you where your vehicles are. So you don't have to carry anything extra.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds really cool. That's something that we'll take you guys up on and come do here soon. There's a group of us talking about it. Then I saw your Instagram post, and that's, so we'll definitely come up and do that. It sounds like you can, there's 2 different times, like a 9 or a 1. And then if we came up with, say, 10 people or so, 1 guide goes with us. And then there's however many other rafts. Talk about that a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, so the trips are at 10:30 or 1, and the rafts are technically 4-person rafts, but it just depends on the size of the people and how bundled up you are, really. But yeah, 1 guide goes with the group. So maybe you'd have 2 rafts of 4, and then 1 raft that has 2 people in it plus the guide, something like that. And so it's anything to add?
Yeah, the rafts are super stable, and we'll go over a quick little, this is how you make it go left and right, because it is a little different than kayaking and canoeing. But yeah, then the guide basically just goes along to make sure nothing goes wrong. So yeah, each raft does not need their own guide, and really you don't even need the guide in the boat with you. Some people, given the circumstances of the coronavirus, are uncomfortable with the guide in the boat with them, so we'll still go along on our own just to make sure nothing goes wrong. make sure no one falls in, that sort of a thing.
Which has not happened.
Has not
yet.
happened. And most people have been very, very thankful to have the guy in the raft with them.
Yeah, it is really helpful.
It a lot easier, yeah. But so yeah, there's a couple options there, and we just try to cater to whatever the people want and feel comfortable with.
And if you have a big group too, and some people want to hike back and some people want to ride back, we can accommodate that as well. Just we'll give a ride to who wants a ride, and the rest can hike.
Okay, and there's a whole video. We'll put the link in this video on the bottom of YouTube when we put it up. That has or you can look up their YouTube channel, which is just the name of your company, the YouTube channel, and it's got the winter rafting Q&As. There's some really good information in there about boots and layers and things like that. So some good tips there. And like I say, you don't get wet. It's not like you have to worry about getting wet. I do have this side question while I'm talking about that. If one wanted to, if you recommend it or not, if one wanted to try to kayak it, do you recommend that? And if you do kayak it, what do you do to try to keep your butt warm and different parts that are closer to the water?
Yeah, so thankfully most kayaks now have pretty nice seats in them, and it with your snow pants on and whatnot, it really shouldn't be much of an issue with how short this trip is. Especially, you might start to get cold towards the end, but then you're either in the vehicle headed back or you're walking and blood's flowing and all of a sudden you're warm again. If you did want to bring your own craft, we've talked about that. We would first vet you to see, if you know what you're doing a little bit. And then the guide would still be required to go along with you just in case someone did tip over. It's a life or death situation pretty quick. And that's just not anything you have to worry about in the rafts. But if, you got a group of avid kayakers that are skilled and are familiar with what the Pine is like, we would allow them to bring their own craft, but you would still pay for the guide to go along for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, like I say, I'd probably do the raft thing, but it'd be nice if to just even contemplate or think, like, we're avid kayakers. I mean, we're not avid whitewater kayakers like Colorado and all that type of stuff, but I don't know if there'd be one or two of us that want to try that with the rest of them in the rafts or something.
Sure.
And this is an easier section. We don't go on the whitewater sections in the wintertime. This is one of the slower sections of the Pine. There's still some riffles and whatnot, and certainly spots you can tip over if you're not paying attention. But for the most part, if you're familiar with kayaking, you probably would do fine.
Cool. Well, that sounds super fun. We'll definitely be, getting a hold of you guys soon. I got a couple more notes here. Basically, to like our community and like this sphere that we're talking to, we love that you are 12 miles away from like the NCT North Country Trail, and that you were around. You're kind of like in a mecca of a lot of really fun things. You guys have camping at your location. I didn't really realize that. I saw. So talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah, so we have a campground as well, and what we sell is clean and quiet. That is what you will get. Some people don't like that. We've had bad reviews left because I told people to be quiet. It's 24 hours. There's no loud generators, no loud hooting and hollering, no music, that sort of stuff.
We're definitely not a party campground.
Yeah, not a party campground.
Right.
We're family friendly.
Yeah, there are places you can go and do that, and that's good. But we're the option of clean and quiet. If you want a quiet, secluded camping experience, that is what we sell. So
Awesome.
the sites have nice woody buffer between them, and they're a little
very
more
private
spaced out.
sites.
Yeah, a little more spaced out than your average campground. And we kind of limit our capacity. We never really fill up because we cut ourselves short of that just to keep with our policies.
Nice. Would a Sprinter van style RV fit back there, or is it more tent camping?
Some of our sites, you can fit an RV in. We do have people that bring them. We just don't have any hookups for them. So
Right.
we mostly get tents, but we have certainly had, I think the biggest I've had in the campground is a 36-foot, which only fits in a couple of spots. But,
Sure.
but yeah, they're mostly tent campers, but we certainly have some people bring their trailers.
Well, amazing. I'm looking at my notes here. There's a ton of information. Oh, I had a couple things I wanted to ask on this. In the summertime, do you guys have like any overnight trip options where you guide like an overnight thing? Or it's always been an interest of mine. I think I would like it. I've never done it. Is that an option?
Definitely. We don't offer any guiding in the summertime, but we are certainly able to help you plan an overnight trip. And there's multiple different options, both on the Pine and the Manistee rivers. Different campgrounds you can target, or you can just camp in the national forest if you don't want to establish site. There's.
Uh-oh, might be losing. We'll give them a.
Most people do. If you wanted to do the whole Pine, it would take 3 days, 2 nights.
Okay, we lost you for about 10 seconds there, but you're back. Hopefully, yep, you're back, I think. But I think we heard a good portion of it. There is overnight camping available up to 3 days. It takes up to 3 days, and you can kind of guide it, but you can help kind of plan it or set it up if folks are interested.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys. We love everything that has to do with anything to do with adventure, which is strictly. I mean, you guys are exactly who we like to be too. Going out and do fun things. Like you say, you're going out for a walk right after this, so that's amazing. So stay in touch. We'll definitely we'll do like a summer recap, see what's going on this summer, and you'll be seeing us, hopefully at least a couple times a year. So appreciate you taking the time out with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
Seriously.
All right, guys. Now make sure Hoxy's ready we're going to interview Hoxy next time.
Yeah. He's pawing at the door right now.
Yeah, we put him outside. He wants back in. He wants to go on his walk. So he's pawing at our door. He's staring at us.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll see ya.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Bye.
Bye.